Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Savvy Cast. This is Jamie, and I'm so glad that you're here today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. I am going to be very brief today. This is a solo episode, but today I got a spa treatment. It's actually a microneedling or nanoneedling. I'll explain the difference in a minute, but I got one of the treatments, put something on my stories, and I've had some questions. So I thought, I'm just going to address some of the things that I pay for that I can't do at home, but that I think are worth it, and some things that I've paid for before and don't think they're worth it and probably will not do them again. Because I believe that most, if not all of us, we want to get the biggest bang for our buck and we want to use our time wisely. So I guess I'm going to break this down into treatments that make a difference as far as aesthetically. Now, you can go get treatments like a facial or even a facial massage or a massage, but that is not going to, in my opinion, show externally. So, what I'm going to talk about are the things that I am willing to pay for, willing to go back for, set a schedule for, because I believe it makes a difference in whether it's my skin, texture, tone, appearance, whatever. So, since I've already addressed this microneedling, I'm just going to mention that. I am a firm believer in microneedling. Nanoneedling is basically the same. It's just not quite as invasive. The needles don't go in as far. And I love my Rainberry. She's here in Birmingham. She makes her own products. There are probiotics in all of her skincare. She does fabulous work, but she explained to me today the difference. Nano needling is less invasive and it's safer to do in the hot months. And here in Alabama, it's very, very hot. And there are two reasons. She does not do microneedling until the end of August. She only will do nano needling because she's afraid of some of the negative effects of our weather here. And I know Alabama is not the only place that is hot and has humidity, but she said if you get microneedling, which is much deeper than nanoneedling, and then you either sweat or perspire, or you get out in the sun and you get burned, that can have very, very damaging effects. So the nanoneedling is just a safer path, not quite as quick of a result, and you'd have to do a little more of that if that's all you did. Whereas microneedling, it's a more dramatic effect more quickly. But I believe that it works. And what it does is these tiny needles, they go into your skin and they disrupt, they cause little micro injuries. And as your body or as your skin repairs itself, it stimulates collagen. I have been doing microneedling for years, and ideally I would be doing it once a month for 4 to 6 times. Then you can take a break and then you can restart. I definitely see results in my skin texture. I feel like my skin is more glowy. I feel like it does help diminish fine lines, and it's more subtle than, say, if you maybe had a laser, like a big laser. But I would liken it to a chemical peel, maybe a mid peel that is just quicker. Because with a mid-range peel, I've done the V peel, I have done skin, oh goodness, Skin Better. And you've got about 10 days where you look a little scaly, you're just a little off. You just don't look your best. And then at the end of that 10 days, you do have a fresher, glowier look. But I personally think that, at least for me, one microneedling session equates to that. And in 2 days, my skin will not be red. And it's actually less red than it was this morning. It'll be much better tomorrow. And redness, of course, you can cover with just makeup or just a skin tint or a CC cream, BB cream. So I just much prefer microneedling to the mid to light peels. I am going to also point out, I don't know if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this, but Marina at My Rainberry, who does mine, she follows with exosomes. So after she makes all of the little holes or the little pinpricks, she puts exosomes on top. So those are designed to help expedite recovery, and they do many things. She was explaining it to me, but it's a little on the scientific side. But also, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see she did the décolleté, the neck, and the face, and she also did my hands. And that is built into her price. Depending upon where you go, if you decide to do microneedling, you do want to see what the price is, and you'll want to see what is included. 9 times out of 10, you're probably just getting the face, maybe the neck. But if you start getting into décolleté, hands, you're probably looking at an add-on, an added price. But I love doing the face, the neck, and the décolleté the same, because if you're wearing a strapless dress, you want everything to look the same. You don't want a young looking neck and then, I'm sorry, a young looking face and an older neck and décolleté. So I just love treating them all the same. So I'm a big proponent of microneedling with exosomes. Some people call it the skin pin. There might be different brand names, but it's all just sort of a disrupting with needles. I will say I got the numbing cream, and when she was doing my décolleté, for some reason, I had to get her to turn down the device. Hers is not a skin pin, but it's one that does exactly the same thing. It's just a different brand. But I think maybe it's because the chest is a little bony, but I had to get her to turn it down, and she said I'm one of her toughest clients because I do a lot. I mean, I derma roll at home. I do I do a lot of dermabrasion scrubs. I just do a lot because I think the more you disrupt your face, keep it, turning over the cells, the better. But I did have a hard time with the chest or the décolleté, but then the neck and the face, she was able to go full force. And as you can see, it's very, very smooth, and it will just look better in 2 days, definitely. But then over time, it's still in between sessions. It is still building collagen, which is what we all want, and it's what we lose the older we get. Okay, so love, love, love micro needling. I also want to mention something that I personally am a believer in, but everyone does not need this, but I'm willing to pay for this because it helps me. But I don't do a lot of filler, but I do Sculptra. Now, Sculptra is not a filler, but it is an injectable. Sculptra, basically, after injected, you'll see it immediately upon injection, but then it sort of disappears and it comes back within 5 to 6 weeks because your body stimulates collagen and it fills those areas where you were injected. I'm a huge proponent. And I get Sculptra in my temples because I have sunken temples, and it's something that I constantly have to address. And when your temples are sunken, you just sort of look hollow. So I do it there, and then sometimes a little bit in the lower face. I can see the results after I'm injected. I can see them within the hour. And the difference in when I come in and then after I'm injected, it's just a fuller, just more symmetrical look. And I love it. It is not inexpensive, but it's not something that you have to do. You can possibly, depending upon your face and where your fat loss is, you can possibly get by with once a year. I have to go about twice. Sometimes I'll go 3, just maybe for a little extra, but I'm a big believer in Sculptra, and that is something I'm willing to pay for. And then, probably goes without saying, I'm a big believer in a toxin. I go back and forth between, I've used Xeomin, Botox, and Dysport. I sort of tend to lean Dysport. I don't think it makes that much difference, but I do love that because and I do go every 3 to 4 months. If I don't do it, my brows will fall, and I have a very large forehead, if my YouTube friends can see, and when it falls, and I've got a lot of wrinkles, it just makes me look sort of angry. So I do love my Botox Dysport my toxin. Okay, so love those. Now, another thing that is not inexpensive, and I have to do it about every 7 to 8 weeks, but for me, I'm willing to pay and I'm willing to spend the time, and that is hair extensions. Now, for my YouTube friends, I'm going to try to show you. Let me see if I can. I have tape ends, so I'm just going to try to show you. I don't think I'm going to be able to, but there's just little strips of tape that are bonded and with real hair, and just they're put in and bonded with heat just all the way around from one side of my head to the back. If I did not do extensions, my hair, it's just very wispy, thin. I have a thyroid condition. I've been on thyroid medication, oh my goodness, since I started college. And that is not good on hair. So, anyway, love, love, love my extensions. And it's something I'll probably do, I guess, until I don't care at all what I look like, maybe when I'm 90. I don't know. Who knows? You probably care when you're 90 as well. But it just makes a big difference for me. Because, and many of you, I will just say this, if you have good hair, be so thankful. Be so thankful, because you are saving so much time and money by having good hair and not having to have that kind of thing. So, another thing that I do think is worth the money, and thankfully, it is not as expensive as it used to be. And all you need is someone to write you a script. You can now get Latisse in generic form, and you can get it at any pharmacy. You just have to have a script written. And if you will get the Good RX app, it's just in the App Store, Good RX, and you put in Latisse, and I think you can just put in Latisse, and it will pull up the generic form, and it will show you how much it is at every pharmacy near you. And you're going to always find it somewhere for about $50. And I'm here to tell you guys, just like my hair is very sparse and thin, if I did not do Latisse, I don't even know if I would have lashes. They would just be invisible. Mascara wouldn't even help. But with Latisse, now it doesn't happen immediately. You have to use it consistently. With Latisse, I have seen growth in length and volume. Love it. And what I do is I just put one drop in the little cap, and I dip the brush. They give you disposable brushes. Dip it in and just put it on the upper lash line. You don't do the bottom. So easy, and it does work. Okay, so those are things that I think work. I'm just going to mention a few things that I've done before that I would never buy again or pay for again or spend time again. Number one, for years, I used this NuFace, NuFace. It's like a handheld device, and you run it across your face, and it's got microcurrents, and it supposedly helps tighten your face and make it look firmer. I believe that maybe it might work on some people, but I don't really believe that it does. So I'm skeptical. I used it for months, never really saw any difference. And I believe that for something microcurrent or something like that, I would go get radio frequency with microneedling with radio frequency. That's where you're actually getting microneedling that's much deeper than what I did today, and you're getting radio frequency, which is heat. That is something I have done, and I do think that does make a difference, but it is super expensive. It's about $800 a session. I was gifted some sessions if I wrote content about it, so I did about 7, and the before and after pictures were remarkable. But I was at a point after about a year after that where that was going, the doctor said, you can only do this so long. The older you get, the more you're losing volume, you're losing bone, and something like that is just going to be a waste of money. So I would not be doing that particular treatment now. But I do believe if you're younger and you're not quite ready for some of the bigger treatments, microneedling with radio frequency would be something that's effective. Something like a NuFace, I would not buy any type of at-home handheld device and think that it's going to make a difference. That's my opinion. Another thing I would never do again, and they were just the biggest headache of my life. Now, I have some friends who use these and they look fabulous and they would never quit, but that is lash extensions. Y'all, they were the most annoying things for me. And you have to take time to get them put in. Then they start coming off unevenly. So you've got to go get them fixed or get them removed. And it's expensive. And it was just not worth it to me. So I'm not a fan nor a participant of lash extensions. They were just not anything that I liked. So another thing that I tried before was a lash tint. Will never try that again. I was at actually a spa and a plastic surgeon's office, and they put the tint on, and it started burning my eyes. We had to flush out my eyes. So that was the one and only time I tried the lash tint. One more thing I'm going to mention before I round this out is a lip, some people call it a lip blush or a lip tint. And it's really almost like a little mild tattoo, but it's just where you can choose a color and you can get your lips tinted. That lasted about 10 seconds with me because it hurt, hurt, hurt. And microblading of the brows is a very similar thing, but it feels much different on your lips. So I did not go through with that. And then the last thing I said, this will be my last. I do think that if you have a good microblade artist, that can be wonderful for someone who needs just to fill in the brows or just add to maybe uneven brows if they grow unevenly, or if you've lost hair from chemotherapy or for whatever, or you've had a bad waxing session. But I do think if you have a good brow artist, that is a very good thing that can be worth your time and money, and it's not something you have to go back and do a lot. So that's just my little coffee talk on things that I am willing to spend that I think are worth it as far as your face, your skin, and things that I don't. I would love to hear from you. For those of you who maybe have done some of these or other products that you have a strong opinion about, I would love to hear your opinions, your comments. And as always, if you like my channel on YouTube, I hope you'll subscribe. And if you enjoy my podcast, I hope you will leave a rating or review. And until next time, you all have a fabulous rest of your day.